Hi everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. As you may know, I've had some technical issues with my videos lately. Every week I do a video where I draw a card, an angel card for the week, for each day of the week. Last couple of ones had a few technical issues, so I'm trying something a bit different. I don't know how it'll go, just a different software, so look, let's give it a go. I'm going to start drawing cards now for Monday, the 16th of July. This runs from the 16th to the 22nd of July, by the way. Should have mentioned that up front. 2018, just in case you're finding this from the future. So, shuffling the cards for Monday. Sometimes a card will jump out. Sometimes the angels will tell me to stop, like that. Ask Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. So Archangel Michael is associated with strength, with courage, with confidence, and with protection. So he's a great one to call on whenever you need a boost of any of those things, which is pretty much all the time if you're me. You can never call on angels too many times. It's not like a petrol station where they're going to run out of gas. Like, the angels are there to help you whenever you need, as often as you need, for even things that are minor. So please don't feel like you're disturbing them or consuming too much of their time. The other thing to know is that archangels can be with everyone simultaneously, so there's no need to worry that you're pulling them away from a more urgent task. So this card is telling you that those of you who really need extra strength, courage, confidence at the moment, this is really reassuring you that Michael is working with you, but you must ask the angels for help if you need it, because they're not allowed to help us without our permission. That's because we have free will. We're in charge of our choices. We don't have to call on angels. We can do whatever we want. We don't have to follow their advice. But if we do want it, we need to ask them to help, because they're not allowed to otherwise. So pretty straightforward message there. Michael's just letting you know he can help you with whatever you're struggling with at the moment, but you have to ask. So Tuesday, card just jumps out. I think this card might be a little bit ripped at the top. That's not good. I don't like it when they're ripped, not because I'm particularly precious about them, but because it means that I will come to know from when I'm shuffling, oh, that's the one with this, distinctive mark. I don't like knowing that in case it biases me in any way, which I'm sure it wouldn't. Anyway, Tuesday's card is manifestation power. If you're familiar with the law of attraction, you will be all over this. So it's about your ability to make anything happen that you want. The key word here is power, and you might notice that the card, the flames, the wings are really evocative of flames, and that's because it is a really empowering card. They want you to know you're not a victim. You can change things. You're not like a feather being thrown around by the wind, whatever the universe wants to do with you. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of your choices. If you want something different, make different choices. Ask the angels to help you. If having the courage to follow through with what you want is an issue, Michael's your BFF, and really look into the law of attraction more if you're interested in this. But what it states is that energy goes where energy flows where attention goes. I always get that wrong. Energy flows where attention goes. So that means that what you focus on is what is going to determine what you attract. Now, this isn't a hard and fast rule, because terrible things can happen to people that they have absolutely not contributed to. I know this. However, most of the time, there is something we have done to contribute to it, and sometimes it's because we feel like we're a victim. Sometimes it's because we simply have gone down the wrong track. Sometimes we've ignored our intuition, whatever it is. So, for example, if you're in a relationship that's not working, you're not trapped. It's because you have chosen to be there, and that's often because there's some underlying belief or something within you that is getting satisfied by that relationship, and it could be a lack of self-worth and the way the person is treating you. You've been attracted to them because they treat you the way that you secretly believe that you deserve to be treated. That's sort of an extreme example, but what I'm saying is we attract things for a reason. So if there's something you're attracting that you don't want, you need to change the way that you are thinking about that situation. The one example that I often give is about money. If we focus on how afraid we are of running out or not having enough money, we're going to attract more lack. But if we're grateful for what we have, to follow Louise Hay's example, we bless our bills when we pay them and express gratitude for having the money to pay them. We're grateful when we look in our wallet or our purse and see lots of money in there, which is probably no one because everyone uses a card these days, but you know what I mean. So it's all about where you are bringing your attention, what your focus is. If you are someone who's constantly worried about the worst case scenario, you're not helping yourself. You're going to bring yourself closer to what you don't want. So it's super important to be positive, not in a fake, I'm going to pretend it's okay when it's not type way, but in terms of being optimistic that things can change and focusing on what you do want to happen rather than what you don't. So really get stuck into that law of attraction stuff. If there's some bigger kind of goals that you're working towards and you are worried that they're not going to happen for you, because if you are worried they're not going to happen for you, that's probably going to be the case. So mindset is everything. The work of Jerry and Esther Hicks is really quite instructional when it comes to the law of attraction. I haven't read it, so I can't personally vouch for it, but this is what I'm told. You know, take it or leave it. Wednesday, peer pressure. This always makes me think of high school, because at my school in New Zealand there was a system called peer pressure where the older kid, when you first started at high school, the older kids had to come and form peer groups or peer support groups for the first term, where they would talk with you and help you integrate into the school a bit better. But anyway, the reason I mention that is because those teenage years are often what we think of in terms of peer pressure. But peer pressure goes on into adulthood. There's pressure to have a baby. There's pressure to look a certain way. Hello, social media. There's pressure to, climb up the career ladder or whatever it is. And this card asks you to make sure that you are honouring the choices that are right for you and not what other people think are right for you. And other people may not be overtly saying you should do this or you need this. It might be something that you're just sensing from other people. It might just be that you're in a circle of friends where everybody's following a particular course, but that's not right for you. You know, one example would be in New Zealand, everybody does an OE, an overseas experience, where they go to London for 2 years. And I just never, in their 20s, there's a scheme between the two governments where you're allowed to do that up until the age of 30. I just never wanted to do that. I just wasn't someone who had the thirst for travel. So I didn't do it, but I certainly, I wouldn't say I felt pressure, but I was aware that I was going against the grain simply because I was doing something that was right for me in terms of staying in New Zealand. I was happy with that. So, you know, it can be about conformity, and whether it's stated or whether people are actually telling you to do something or not. Just examine whether your choices are being driven by you or whether they're being driven by what you think you should do. And people who listen to my videos will know I really hate the word should, because as soon as you're using the word should, you're implying there's some sort of rules or code of conduct that you're supposed to be following or that you're expected to. And if you're not, you're in violation of that, and therefore you're doing things wrong. And that's simply not the case. There are very few rules in this world. You have to pay your bills, and you have to learn how to love. That's just the deal, including yourself. And but other than that, there's not very much that you actually have to do. Thursday, Adriana. This is an interesting one because it's about intuition, as so many of the cards are. But on this card, the angel is guiding people up the stairs. Stairs are an interesting analogy. If you, because obviously if you, or maybe it's not obvious, but if you dream about stairs, it's going to imply something like an ascent or going up in the world or something like that. But climbs can also be symbolic of challenge or struggle. So there could be all sorts of things coming up for you here. On a very simple level, what I'm getting is simply that you're being helped by heaven. I don't know if that's oversimplifying things, but you know, sometimes simple things are simple because they're true. And really, they're letting you know that the reason that we sometimes feel things are hard is because we overcomplicate them. We make them harder than they need to be, or they seem harder because we are looking at it wrong. If we could see how much the angels can see for us, we would know that we're capable of vastly more than we realize, and therefore we can do the things that we think are too hard. So the answer is to talk to your angels and to ask them for help. And you can do this in your head. out loud, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. And you can also ask for a sign if you want some validation that what you have heard is the case. But really they're telling you that they're going to show you the way. So if you feel like you don't know how to start, or you don't know how to, go about what you're doing, ask for help. And often the answer is just take the first step. I use this quote all the time. Faith is about taking the first step, even though you can't see the whole staircase. If someone had said to me, you are going to post an angel card on social media every single day for 3.5 years, I would go, I don't have time for that, no way. But because I do it one day at a time, it's actually not that time consuming, and it's very manageable. And I have done it for 3.5 years now, and I will continue to do so, because it is something very rewarding that brings a lot of people joy. And my job as a light worker is to bring love and light into the world. So, but if you looked at the scale of every single card that I had posted over the years, it would be quite overwhelming, and that would add up to a lot of time. But my point is, if you do things slowly and just a bit at a time, small things add up to big things. Friday, look deeper. So this is letting us know that there are things going on beyond the surface that we can't see. And in some ways, this is a bit of a warning sign, because it can indicate there is something that you are not aware of in this situation. So make sure you're not acting on impulse with any choices that you're facing right now. Make sure that you're not acting on peer pressure or what other people have told you. You're going to need to do a bit of extra research, really, is what this card is all about. And in particular, they're saying this is in regards to something, a behavior or something that's going on with you. Not necessarily something that you're doing out there in the world, but something that you are dealing with. The way that you are looking at things is not, you're not looking at things clearly. So you might be thinking, say in one example, I've got no choice but to continue to, I don't know, say, oh, well, I can't exercise, I don't have time. And underneath there might be something, a fear of, being bad at exercise, or a fear of hurting yourself, or a fear of looking silly. I don't know. That's a weird example. I don't know why I came up with that. But I'm just trying to think of something where look in terms of the way that you are, the way your thoughts are being shaped, basically, and make sure there's not something underpinning that. In terms of maybe if you're procrastinating, this is actually a much better example because I've just been writing about it, so I'm all over it. If you are procrastinating, that's usually a sign of something else going on. Often it is a fear of failure, and often, or not often, but sometimes it can be just a fear of not wanting to put yourself out there, which is not really a fear, but it can be a desire to keep yourself small, which I guess is part and parcel of a fear of failure. Oh my goodness, the sun has just come out and I'm being blinded. I really don't do this so well, do I? Never mind. You guys are totally okay with me being totally amateur with this. What it's asking you to do is make sure you're not accepting things at face value. And certainly when it comes to the way we think about ourselves and the way we think about as we make choices throughout the day, we are often going on autopilot. And if we stop to ask ourselves some questions, why am I not drinking enough water? Or why am I delaying calling back that person? And there might be a reason behind it. I am not a big fan of the term self-sabotage, but certainly when we do things that aren't helping us, there can be something going on underneath that. In the extreme, it could be a lack of self-worth, but it's more likely to be things like fear of failure and anyway, I'm spending too much time on this. Let's move on. Wow, Saturday we have Archangel Michael. So if you have deja vu, that would be because we just had a card from him. So this is one of the main reasons I love using a different card for each day of the week, and it's because it's so easy to see these themes and these patterns emerging across different cards. So as I explained, Archangel Michael, super, super powerful angel. The name Michael means he who is next to God. So I say he, angels don't really have a gender, but he is classically depicted as a man. So let's just go with it for the sake of simplicity. So really, he is God's right hand man, person, angel, whatever. So he's an excellent person to call on for protection and for safety, for anything around needing an extra boost of confidence and courage. And when he if you ask for confidence or courage, he's not bringing it to you from an external source. It's within you. He's just going to help bring it to the fore and help you remember how powerful you are. And as I mentioned, we often just fully do not appreciate that. So I get the feeling some of you, as we head into that weekend, are going to be facing some concerns around self-worth. I actually wasn't thinking self-worth, but that came out of my mouth, and perhaps that was deliberate, around your capabilities, about what you can achieve, and will need a boost of courage. It could be that circumstances are going to change. I get the sense some of you are going to have some interesting developments that you could not have foreseen around this time, and you're going to think, I can't deal with this. Remember that the universe never gives you more than you can deal with, and Michael's the one you call on for a reminder of that, because you have got this. Sunday, I love when they just jump out so neatly. Gifts from God. Okay, this is about receiving, and I talk about this a lot, about how love needs to flow in both directions. You need to give it and you need to receive it. And often this card is specifically talking about the way we receive gifts from the universe. So it's a difficult one, because often we can be asking for help, and not actually accepting the help when it turns up. Sometimes, again, it could be because we don't feel like we deserve the solution. Sometimes the solution just doesn't look like what we expect it. Sometimes it's because we have some pride issues. So an example would be if you're asking for money and one of your friends offers you a loan, even without you mentioning it, and you say, no, you're too proud to accept help from others. Remember that the universe helps, the universe works for other people. So often when you say no, you're cutting yourself off from the universe. And maybe that is actually the help that you were looking for. So be aware that things can turn up in packages you might not have expected. Be open. And please know you are being helped. Even something that I talk about from time to time, and maybe it's time to bring this up again, is that when you ask for something from the universe, there are only 3 possible answers. The first is yes. The second is not yet. It's a timing thing. And the third one is, I have something better in mind. I didn't make that up, by the way. That was that's a quote that's gone around Instagram many times, and I'm sure I've definitely posted it. And that means that if something's not turning up for you, it might be that the timing is wrong, or it might be that something better is coming up for you. And so it falls on you to trust in that. I know it's difficult. The problem is we live in a society where we can get whatever we want whenever we want, and so waiting and understanding that things can work out differently to how we expect is quite challenging. We have such an ability to control so much in our world now, the way people see us through social media, the way that we receive all sorts of things, the way we receive deliveries of food, the way our food shows up, the way we structure our days, the way we move around the world in terms of transport. Anyway, when it comes to the universe, we don't really have a lot of control. So if you're asking for something, be aware it might show up in a different form, but know that it will show up. That's the overriding message of that. So looking at these cards, wow, this light's really intense. Honestly, the sun was behind a cloud when I started this recording, and now it's like glaring. I almost need to put my sunglasses on. So the big theme is Archangel Michael coming through with those, and so I do feel that those ideas around strength and courage and confidence are really looming large this week. And we've also got some messages about holding on to not giving up on our goals. So in terms of the universe helping us through this Adriana card about being guided, and about this message here in terms of us receiving. Those are really the big themes, but I do feel like this peer pressure idea is quite significant in terms of the way we're living our lives. If you think about that idea of us being guided up the stairwell, make sure it is the universe guiding you and it's not other people. Just be really aware of what's driving you at the moment, what's driving your choices, and what might be going on underneath. Did you like that segue? Smooth. That's it for the week. I've got to go and get out of this light before I go blind. I won't go blind. Just joking, universe. And I would like to thank you for your support. Hopefully this video works, and let you know that, as always, these cards will be up on my social media every day at One Grounded Angel on Insta, and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. You can reach me on my website, www.onegroundedangel.com. Just hit the bookings item on the menu up the top of my website, and please subscribe to my channel and hit notifications so that you do get notified each time the videos go up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a terrific week.